The Funkasaurus continues his rise. The All-American takes his rightful place. And I didn't figure out a third line for this intro. This is PWS, Phil's Wrestling Show. Woo, woo, woo! You know it. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of PWSPhil's Wrestling Show. I, of course, am the one and the only, thank God, PWSPhil. And this week on the show, I'll be covering, of course, Raw, SmackDown, and Impact from the week. And there'll also be a figure review of Elite 12 Daniel Bryan. And we'll be taking a closer look at some new shirts from PWSPhil's Wrestling Shirts. Let's kick things off with Monday Night Raw review. Okay, so Monday Night Raw from January 16th, 2012. Definitely a big step up from last week's Monday Night Raw. I really liked, the show was pretty good this week. Maybe just one really bad part, of course, and I think we can all figure that one out. Let me go to my notes here, we'll take a look. Mick Foley kicked off the show. Good to see him back. Good to see him in a role a little more important than playing Santa Claus on SmackDown. And I really like that he's putting his bid in for the Royal Rumble. Big names coming back for the Rumble always helps boost things up a little bit. And I enjoy Foley's work anyway, so always good to see Mick. I really thought Dolph knocked it out of the park this week. What a great promo cut on Mick Foley. Really tearing him down. Dolph was really giving it to Mick on the mic. Of course, the old famous line from Ric Flair's book of Mick Foley being a glorified stuntman, that usually gets brought up. And Dolph's really putting himself in a great spot here. I mean, even if he doesn't win the title, it's looking like 2012 will be the year Dolph Ziggler wins a WWE Championship, possibly. He got a brief 10-minute run with the World Heavyweight title, but I think he deserves a real opportunity with the WWE Championship sometime this year. Then, of course, CM Punk came out to somewhat defend Mick Foley. Not that Mick Foley needs defense, but he put it out there that he'd love to face Mick Foley at WrestleMania for the title if everything went that way. Punk's always pretty good on the mic, so this was good. Not quite as impactful as Dolph's promo, but still pretty strong. Of course, John Laurinaitis had to come out and put the kibosh on Mick Foley in the Rumble for now. That started to make me wonder if we're going to see a feud between Mick Foley and John Laurinaitis. Not particularly exciting to hear that right now, but I mean, John Laurinaitis did wrestle for many years, so it's not like he's incapable of having a match. And it would be a great way to get him out there and get some heel heat. Really get some boos going. And Mick Foley doesn't have to worry about keeping up with such a young guy. I mean, at this point, he's got some years on most of the roster, so starting them off with Laurinaitis might be the best way, where they're both older guys. They don't have to be running around like maniacs. And I don't know. I think it might be an interesting feud. And Vicky Guerrero was looking very hot. I specifically wrote that down, so you know she must have been looking good. I didn't really think this had a solid direction at first, with Foley and Dolph, and then Punk coming out. I mean, Punk and Dolph didn't really have too much of an interaction, considering they're facing each other. So I really thought that should have been a little more focused on overall. But it was a pretty good start to the show, a pretty good start. After commercial break, they broke the news on TV that Epico and Primo had become the tag team champions. And I was wondering what the deal was with that, but unfortunately we found out on Tuesday that Evan Bourne has been suspended again on a second violation, this time for 2 months. And I really think he's shooting himself in the foot here, you know what I mean? He finally got a push, a storyline, a strong one too, with Kofi as Sarah Boom. And I don't know. This is not good. I really wouldn't want to see Evan Bourne get fired. I think he has a lot of potential, you know what I mean? We just seen Daniel Bryan win the World Championship, so it's not impossible for you, Evan, to get to the top of the WWE. I mean, all you got to really do is brush up on your mic skills and you're all set. I mean, you're already amazing in the ring, given an opportunity to be amazing. Don't blow it, man. You can make a lot of money and entertain a lot of people with your talents. And I really don't want to see you get fired. So I hope you get everything in line. And I really don't want to see anything like this happen to you again. The match was okay. I'm more concerned with the fact that are there going to be any or enough tag teams to keep the division going with Epico and Primo as champions. I hope they whip together a couple of good guy tag teams so at least these guys can get a couple month run of some substance, you know, and they're not just now they're the champions and they're forgotten. You know, I really hate to see that. And I think even though Epico and Primo haven't gotten to show their personalities as much, the lovely Rosa Mendez does keep a lot of eyes on the team, so hoping they have something for Epico and Primo to do and they just don't get forgotten as tag team champions. A quick note though, I really did love Evan's Hurricanrana on Primo, taking him into Epico. I thought that was a really good spot in the match. I really did enjoy that. From there we moved backstage again. David Otunga handed Johnny Laurinaitis an envelope that we would later find out was actually Zack Ryder's medical condition. And of course that would play out later. And also, Otunga brought Jericho in, who was informed he was in a 6-man tag. He, of course, had nothing to say, but he certainly had enough time to turn out the lights and put on the light-up jacket, which was pretty fucking hilarious on my end of things. I was laughing pretty hard at that one. As if Laurinaitis, hadn't seen anything like that before, even though Jericho's done it the last 13 years on WWE TV. But it was pretty hilarious. I enjoyed it. After commercial break, we came back and we got Ryder backstage doing a quick interview with Josh Matthews. Really selling the back injury. I think Ryder did good work here. I mean, he often plays goofiness, but tonight he got a big opportunity to play serious parts in the show. And I thought he did really good. I mean, a guy who really enjoys playing the silly parts and stuff. I thought he really nailed the selling of the injury tonight. And I really think this alliance with Eve is good for both of them. I think it's Eve's best thing as a manager. She's managed R-Truth in the past, and it just didn't come off quite right. But this feels right, where she's not really a defined character. She's more of a normal character. And Zack, even though he's very goofy, is still a pretty normal character too. So it works well. And if it gets Eve up there, I mean, she, for someone who didn't always do wrestling, I always known she has the physical ability to be a good wrestler. But in the last, especially last year, she really finally made it to that top level of wrestlers. I mean, she had some really good matches with Beth Phoenix, and I hope she stays on that trend of really raising her game in wrestling. I think she's the best non-veteran diva the WWE has. Let's see, what else do we have? Of course, we had a Kane and Ryder recap from last week, and I won't often mention just the video package for WWE, just because they're always good. I mean, I couldn't really tell you the last time I seen a bad video recap from WWE. Like I mentioned last week, sometimes they'll go with the over-dramatic music, and that's really the most I could ever bash them for. I mean, when you talk about editing and video packages, WWE is the top. So I won't always mention it, just assume I think they're great. After that, we finally got to the actual match of Jack Swagger versus Ryder for the United States Championship. And I really think this is what, maybe not this particular storyline with Zack Ryder, but, you figure you're going to bring Jack Swagger in and eventually dub him the All-American American. He probably should have won the U.S. title before the World Heavyweight Championship. Seems like a very natural storyline to do, Jack Swagger as the United States Champion. So I'm not completely crushed. Zack Ryder's just starting his ride to the top, so don't freak out, broskies. He'll get it back someday. I really enjoyed as I said earlier, the selling from Zack Ryder was just excellent throughout the night. And this match made him look like a real tough son of a bitch. I took 3 power bombs to put him down, even with the busted up back. So they're definitely letting Ryder get out there as he's a goofball, but he's a tough ass goofball, and I like that. And like I said, Jack Swagger winning the U.S. title is just long overdue. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the new WWE magazine is on sale now, and newsstands everywhere. Then we got another commercial break. This time, Zack Ryder backstage after his United States Championship match. And, of course, this is, during the match is when John Laurinaitis happened to open medical results for Zack Ryder, saying he shouldn't have been in any condition to wrestle. Eve, of course, got pissed, and John Laurinaitis told her to shut her mouth and respect authority, being a true dick that he was. He of course, has been a heel since the start, but hasn't fully done anything outright to be a bad guy. He's just douchey and boring, and we would see this develop through the night into more. Then we got the worst segment of the night in absolute garbage. I'm not even going to go into any details. Perez Hilton and Bellas versus Kelly and Alicia Fox was just absolutely terrible all around, and I'm not even going to discuss it. After that, they made up for that awful atrocity of life by giving us R-Truth came out for a promo, and he didn't even get a chance to say anything, which is rare because the one and only Wade Barrett came out and had to interrupt him. I really liked Wade's line, R-Truth, if that is your real name. And this was just great work all the way around. This was probably arguably the best segment of the night. It was just constructed well. You had good people on the mic, a good match that followed it. I mean, I really love this part of the show. Wade and R-Truth went back and forth. R-Truth showed some ridiculously photoshopped pictures from his trip to Disneyland. I really enjoyed that silliness. It was very fun. Of course, during their back and forth, Miz came out and attacked R-Truth. And then Wade and Miz were really putting a beat down on R-Truth, which brought out the Great White Sheamus, and who really he could really be this generation's Stone Cold Steve Austin, in that he just got that physical style. I mean, obviously not character-wise. Not going to be bashing cans and all that stuff, but just the way he wrestles, reminds me a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Teddy Long came out during this 4-way brawl, and of course, I'm sure many other people had to be thinking too that it was time to make this a tag team match, but he actually didn't. He made a fatal 4-way over the top rope match, like a mini rumble, if you will. And I thought it was really a good match. I enjoyed it. R-Truth was definitely a surprise win, but when I went back and thought about it, like I said last week, they are rebuilding Truth. I'm glad to see they're actually making and building new good guys, new faces. I believe I said last week that WWE is really heavy on bad guys and heels. I'm glad to see that they're starting 2012 realizing that and building some faces to go along with that. So on Raw so far we got Brodus and R-Truth pretty much on the rebuild as two good guys, two faces, and I'm definitely glad to see that. I believe there was a commercial break, and then we came back, or they cut backstage to John Laurinaitis and Cena. Cena was pissed that Laurinaitis let Zack Ryder wrestle, which is good. I think generally, overall, at this point, that's all that people really ask. I don't think really anybody thinks Cena... I mean, I know there's people out there that think Cena sucks. I personally don't think at this point that he sucks. But I do agree that he's too mellow, I guess you could say, at times. He doesn't get pissed enough. So I am enjoying this Kane storyline because pissed John Cena is pretty entertaining. And while he doesn't always have to be like that, it's nice to see John Cena get pissed. It really helps his character, helps balance out all those other times he's goofy or just being, despite the fact he got screwed or whatever, he still smiles and doesn't bitch about it. Well, maybe you can bitch about it and punch someone in the face, because it was pretty entertaining tonight. Unfortunately, to appease Cena, John Laurinaitis put him in a match with Jack Swagger, and I thought that was just kind of silly. Swagger already wrestled in the night, so, I mean, I don't know, I just didn't care for that. Like, why just have him get beat up by Cena? It would have made either more sense that Cena just went and found Swagger and beat him up himself, or deny Cena the match with Swagger, and then Cena has no choice but to beat up whoever opponent he has. And that would just show Cena more embracing the hate. He couldn't get the Swagger, he couldn't get the Kane, so he took it out on his opponent who really had done nothing to him. I think that would have been a better way to go with this. And overall, this was just it was still a good segment, him beating up Jack Swagger, because it showed that slowly but surely Kane's getting to him and John Cena is embracing the hate. So overall, like I said, this was really a step up from last week's show, and really good work by Cena in that one. And Jack Swagger is a champ for taking those punches right in the face, because from what I heard, John Cena works pretty stiff anyway, and with the camera that close, you can't be messing around. So I'm sure Jack Swagger got his lumps from Cena, because it certainly looked like it. We got another match this week from Brodus Clay. He looked like he was having fun as the Funkasaurus. And the funny thing about Brodus is that he's bringing guys who haven't been on Raw in months onto Raw. Last week we got a Kurt Hawkins sighting on Raw. Who would think they'd see that anytime soon? And this week we got an appearance by JTG. I enjoyed the short, these are going to be short matches for the time being. I'm sure we won't get anything significant with Brodus as far as storylines go too soon. So I expect the matches are all going to be somewhat like this for a while. I thought it was good for the little bit. He kind of did almost a Goldust type thing, feeling up JTG from the back, and JTG got all freaked out. And then, of course, from there on, it was all Brodus. Just wiped him out with everything. It was good, but it was short. But I think that's all you need for now, until they figure out what he's going to do for a storyline. So, if you don't like the character, I understand, but I don't mind it as long as he's crushing people and it looks like he's enjoying it. I think that's something that always works. Just before the main event, Daniel Bryan did a promo on the entrance ramp, and he was just about there to full heelness. If the promo hadn't been about Big Show running over AJ, then you would have no other choice than to call him a full heel after this promo, but he was really pissed that Big Show ran over his tiny girlfriend, and we'll have to see how it played out on SmackDown against Mark Henry, because that's another monster in a row he's had to defend the championship against, and I'll be interested to see if Big Show gets involved in that match, especially after Bryan called him a genetic freak, and not in the good way. So Daniel Bryan, moments away from becoming a complete heel. And I definitely think at this point we're going to be seeing Mark Henry versus Big Show versus Daniel Bryan for the World Championship at the Royal Rumble, the way things are going. And speaking of the main event, the internet wrestling community got the wet dream tag team of all time, or at least that was how it was set up. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and Jericho, had this been an actual tag team match, would have probably blown up the internet, with those three on one team. And they faced the team of Mark Henry, Dolph Ziggler, and David Otunga, who was lucky to be in there with 5 people of that caliber, personally. Like I said, I do like David Otunga, but he definitely needs to step it up on the wrestling side of things. The match started off pretty normally. Jericho, of course, went nuts before the match, still running around slapping hands. And when he finally got a hot tag from CM Punk, we got literally nothing from him. He jumped in the ring, cheered some more, and hit the bricks. He didn't even touch the A-list lawyer, David Otunga. Otunga was down on the ground. He could have done anything, a lion salt, the old Jericho pin with the 1 foot. Could have done any of that. Didn't do any of it. Did the point to the crowd, hit the bricks. So, I don't know if the character, I was thinking the character is that he so loves the adulation from the fans that he never wants this to end. He'll just it's every week, it's like he just came back. So until we see his true intentions, I'm thinking that's what the character is going to be like. He just loves hearing the cheers, and then he's gone. Cheers, gone. It was a match full of shenanigans. I mean, Jericho left. Eventually, Daniel Bryan and Mark Henry got into a fight. They fought backstage. They left. Mick Foley came out to help CM Punk, because at that point, both his partners had left. Like I said, there was enough of a match to say it was a match, but there's also enough shenanigans where you could argue that this was more of a storyline than a match. Let's see, what happened there? Mick Foley ends up winning the match on David Otunga. Mick Foley claimed that John Laurinaitis had given him full authority to go out there and add into the match, which of course brought out Johnny Ace after the match, saying that in no way did he give Foley the authority to go out there and take Jericho's spot. And this is when Punk chose to just absolutely tear down John Laurinaitis in every way. At this point, the only thing they haven't really mentioned is that John Laurinaitis did have some pretty good matches in Japan, but Punk pretty much tore him down on every other level in this promo. And Laurinaitis was doing a pretty good job of looking very uncomfortable, taking all this attacks straight to his face. So after Punk hit the bricks, I thought they were going to wrap the show, but Laurinaitis stayed in the ring with Mick Foley. And Mick Foley wanted to know right there and then if John Laurinaitis was going to screw Punk at the Royal Rumble against Dolph Ziggler. And Laurinaitis finally caved and went full heel. We finally got it. And he said he was absolutely going to screw CM Punk out of the title at the Royal Rumble. So if they're really trying to build a Vince and Austin type atmosphere, they're pretty close. I think Laurinaitis is going to have to turn up stacking the odds on Punk in the next couple weeks just to give it a little more credibility to Laurinaitis being able to screw Punk. Because Punk has said he's going to beat Laurinaitis' ass if he screws him, and Laurinaitis says, I don't give a shit, I'm still going to screw you anyway. So I really think Laurinaitis has to get some advantage on Punk in the couple of weeks coming to the Rumble, just to get people to watch the pay-per-view and see, is Dolph Ziggler going to be crowned the new champion at the hands of John Laurinaitis? That would be a really good one. And a little more on the Foley and John Laurinaitis feud. Laurinaitis ended up smashing Mick Foley in the head with a microphone, and that really got me thinking that maybe not right away at Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber, but at WrestleMania, I'm thinking we might actually get Laurinaitis versus Foley, and the winner will be the permanent Raw GM. And I think right now would be an excellent time to bring Mick Foley back as the general manager. I mean, it's been a good, gotta be 12 years since he was actually the general manager on Raw, and arguably up there with probably the top general manager, right up there with William Regal as one of the most entertaining general managers. And of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Eric Bischoff was also another good era. But I think now is the time to do, lead up to WrestleMania. Laurinaitis versus Foley, winner becomes GM. I think it would give Laurinaitis, I'm sure in all the time he spent in WWE, I'm sure he's wanted to have a match at WrestleMania. And I think this would be an excellent opportunity to let him have a WrestleMania match. And to also let Mick Foley get a motherfucking win at WrestleMania. Jesus Christ. Can Mick Foley get a win? I mean, I know not everybody gives a shit about wins and losses. I personally don't think wins and losses fully matter. It's a good match and a good story. But some people just deserve to have a moment like that at WrestleMania. I mean, Mick Foley hasn't had a win at WrestleMania, I believe, since WrestleMania 14 against Terry Funk or with Terry Funk against the New Age Outlaws. You know what I mean? So he never, in all those matches, big matches he's had at WrestleMania, he's never got a victory out of it, a true victory. Let him beat the hell out of Johnny Ace at WrestleMania. New GM. Gotta help the ratings. I just think it'll be a good story all the way around. So, definitely a big step up from last week's Raw. Like I said, WWE and Raw are my favorite promotion and show, and they really knocked it out of the park this week. I really enjoyed it. When we come back, Impact Review. Got a bunch of new stuff up on eBay this week also. Let's take a look. What's for sale on eBay?
Now available on eBay. Click the link in the description.
Alright guys, we're going to try something a little different this week for the Impact Review. I'm actually going to watch it back on DVR, and after each part I'll let you know what I thought. So it won't be too far off from last week, but it'll be a little different. I won't have to take a look at my notes. So here we go, TNA Impact Review. Okay, segment 1 on Impact. They started things off with the video package of last week's shenanigans with Bobby Roode. Well done. James Storm kicked things off. He came right out saying that since he defeated Kurt Angle last week, that he was the #1 contender, and that he was looking forward to meeting Bobby Roode at Against All Odds. Jeff Hardy came in, of course, and had something to say about that, being screwed twice in a week by Bobby Roode. And thought it was good work by Storm. Hardy kept his part short and sweet. We know he can be really good on the mic, or he can be really average on the mic. And I thought he did a good job by keeping it short. If he didn't have that much to say, I'm glad he kept it quick. They were, of course, interrupted by the world champion Bobby Roode, who found his way that neither of them deserved a shot. He's really, again, that was good, solid work. Albeit each person's part was short, everybody was pretty good in their roles here. Of course, after all that silliness, Sting came out and sorted things out by setting up James Storm versus Jeff Hardy for the true number one contendership. Now, something I noticed quickly out of the video package, basically they're saying the reason last week that Jeff Hardy didn't get the title was that because Bully Ray did the interference and got Bobby Roode disqualified is why Jeff Hardy didn't walk away with the title. I think that's just a screwy way around things. I don't really like that at all, to be honest with you. If Bobby Roode got disqualified, then Bobby Roode got disqualified. But I guess since Bully Ray only attacked the referee, it becomes a no contest, quotation mark, and that's how Bobby Roode escaped with the belt. Looking forward to Hardy and Storm. I'm looking forward to check that out. I'm going to check out the next part of the show right now. Angelina Love just had a little backstage interview. I thought she did a good job. Definitely reminiscent of her Beautiful People days. Winter was missing in action, so this was an all Angelina bit. Basically throwing it out there to Eric Young that after last week's shenanigans in the match, Winter versus ODB, Eric Young had airplane spinned Angelina Love, and Angelina Love is pissed and has actually challenged Eric Young to a match. It's good to see Angelina getting a little bit of the spotlight back on her again. Even though I think it's good to keep a rotation of your wrestlers and storylines, I also I like when people get their turn around again, and Angelina Love is someone I think should always have a little spotlight on her just because she's really good at interviews, and she's one of the best in the ring on TNA. Even though Gail Kim and Mickie James are at the top of the Knockouts division, I always think Angelina's a good person, a great wrestler in the division, a great all-rounder. So it's good to see her. I don't know how the match with Eric Young and her is going to be, but I'm sure I'll have to check it out. Right now I'm going to be watching AJ Styles and Gunner. Okay, just got done watching AJ Styles versus Gunner. I thought they had a pretty good match. I do enjoy Gunner, even though he's your basic style wrestler, and AJ is more an advanced, can handle many styles. I did enjoy their little match. There was nothing really, nothing you wouldn't expect in the match, but it was good. We got some new developments between AJ and Kazarian and Daniel's storyline. During the match, AJ was picking up momentum towards the end, and Christopher Daniels brought down Kazarian to ringside and wanted him to interfere in the match. And once there was a spot, Kazarian hopped up on the apron and delivered a hell of a clothesline to AJ. I thought it was a well done, looked pretty vicious. And then Gunner used the DDT to pick up the victory. That's good. I hope this is building to possibly Bound for Glory. Maybe by the end of the year, Gunner might get a title shot. It's looking good. Something else that kind of came up in my head after watching that segment. It wouldn't be too bad if Ric Flair created Fortune version 2 with Gunner, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, and Ric Flair. And maybe if they could pick up someone else too. Wouldn't be too bad of a runaround. I thought Fortune was a pretty successful group the first time around. And just like the Horsemen, there's many variations of the Horsemen, and I don't see why there couldn't be a new Fortune in its original form as heels like it was supposed to be. I understand the first Fortune was heels for a while, but since they never got to feud with Main Event Mafia, since Kevin Nash and Booker T went to WWE afterwards, I think right now wouldn't be too bad of a time. It would spice up the show. It would really outline a new group. Kazarian and Flair would be there from the original Fortune, and then add in Daniels and Gunner and maybe one other guy, because since Ric Flair is not a full-time wrestler, I think it would be a really good group. After that, we got a little skit backstage with Crimson. Well, actually, it started out as Magnus giving a quick interview about his match with Crimson, and Crimson came in saying that if he wanted to do this, they can throw down right now. This was I'm actually kind of surprised with Crimson. His mic work has really improved since he first came in. So I'm enjoying that, and I'm looking forward to this match tonight. Hoping he does better than last week against Robbie E in the tag match. Coming back from break, it's looking like we got a segment between Bully Ray and Sting, and I'll be back with the next part in a few. Alright, I just watched the quick segment backstage between Bully Ray and Sting. I gotta say, it was really an entertaining segment. Albeit, it was a quick segment, but it was enjoyable for what it was. Bully Ray wanted his title match that Bobby Roode had promised him. He claimed that he hasn't lost any matches as a single superstar. I really don't believe that's true, considering Abyss just defeated him at the pay-per-view. But anyway, he was very insistent that Sting owed him a favor and give him a world title match. But of course, that was a no-go from Sting, who re-informed Bully Ray that Sting is the boss, and Bully Ray will not be picking his own matches and whatnot. Things got kind of heated because Sting told Bully Ray that if he ever wants to speak to him again, he needs to make an appointment. Bully Ray did not enjoy that and said that was fine, but you better sit up and listen. And Sting gave him a hearty shove in the chest, and Bully Ray was somehow hurt by this, despite his many hardcore years in wrestling, and he didn't do anything about it. And Sting said, "That's what I thought," and ran off. It was really good. They're doing a good job of keeping all the bad guys and the heels interacting with Sting each week, and they're usually really good interactions. Makes me really wish that Sting would just bite the bullet one time and hop over to WWE. And I also kind of wish Bully Ray didn't have such a shitty reputation with a lot of the WWE guys, because I really like to see him come back and have a proper singles run, but that's probably two cases of highly unlikely. But this segment backstage is really entertaining. And right now, Christy Hemi's in the ring, and I'll be back with a quick review on the next match. Okay, so I just got done watching Samoa Joe Magnus versus Crimson. I was hoping for more. Unfortunately, we got a pretty crappy match. We got Magnus doing a few moves on Crimson, and then Crimson hit the Red Sky out of nowhere for the win. These matches are pointless. It did lead to Magnus and Joe beatdown on the tag champs, so I guess that does advance things a little bit. But overall, I just thought it was a waste of time. They could have just done that with the backstage segment. They could have just had a brawl. I wasn't impressed by Crimson, to be honest. It doesn't make me think any more of Crimson just because they hit one move. Literally one move was the Red Sky in the whole match that he won. After that, we got a pretty funny bit. EY plugging Bellator Fighting Championships just because he seen the truck outside, and then he thought the catering person was a fighter for Bellator, and then ODB advised him to take the challenge against Angelina for fear of what the boys would think in the back. Silly good stuff all the way around with the EY segment. Crap with the Crimson and Magnus segment. Other than Magnus and Joe looking strong at the end, waste of time. Okay, so we had a montage of Garrett Bischoff training after a recap of last week with his dad. I thought it was pretty cool, something different. We don't often get to see stuff like this on TNA of new superstars training. It was simple. Showed him in the gym, throw some people around. I just think it's a good way. This is more good use of the Garrett Bischoff storyline without taking up too much of the show. I enjoyed seeing him, training in the ring. They didn't give away anything about who his trainer supposedly is. But overall, I thought it was a good little segment. Then we jumped into a recap last week of the Mickie James and Madison storyline. That was another good little video. And then a backstage segment with Madison and Gale. And Madison does not want to be in this cage match. I'm still skeptical of how good the match is going to be. That's the next segment coming up. But overall, for a segment of the show that was all video packages, I thought it was done well enough to be entertaining, and I enjoyed it. And right now I'm going to watch this cage match between Mickey and Madison, and I'm hoping for the best, but we'll see what happens. Just watched the first half of Mickie James versus Madison Rayne in the cage. Madison came out with Gail Kim, and she wanted to somehow get Gail Kim to come into the cage with her, and Earl Hebner, of course, said, "Oh, hell no." And Gail Kim really sold it by not giving a shit. And she's like, okay, whatever. Obviously, she doesn't give a shit what happens to Madison Rayne as long as she's still the Knockouts champion. The match so far was kind of what I expected. It was a lot of Mickie James. I actually was thinking we might actually see like a 1-minute match where Mickie just ran over Madison. And it didn't quite get that bad. It was all Mickie, which keeps the quality good because she's good on offense. And she had a little rest hold on Madison, and she wanted to get up and give her an Irish whip, and she kind of misstepped. So Madison, in my opinion, did the right thing of trying to move on and get through the little misstep there, and threw a kick at Mickie, but from the looks of things, it looked like she really kicked Mickie James in the head with a good one. So I'm hoping Mickie didn't get a concussion or anything. They went to break not too long after, so I definitely think some shenanigans went on there where they tried to make sure Mickie James was okay, which is a good thing. But like I said, this is what I kind of worried about with Madison being in a match like this, that there'd be some not so good spots, and now she's already kicked Mickie James in the head with a stiff one. So they went to commercial break in the match, and I'll see what happens in the second half. Okay, so I just finished up the second half of Mickie James versus Madison in the cage, and it picked up a little bit. It wasn't too bad. Overall, I don't think the match was on par with Mickie James' cage match with Tara. But it was a good match overall. I don't know if the cage came into effect enough to really, maybe it shouldn't have been a cage match. But I understand with the story, Madison up in the small cage and whatnot. I did like Madison. She did have a nice little spot with a vertical suplex, and then she did like the Eddie Guerrero transition back to the feet, and then into a neck breaker. I thought that was good innovation for Madison. Good to see her adding moves into her moveset. I also like her neck breaker she did on the ropes and bounced Mickey's neck off the ropes so that she hit the cage face on. The cage didn't really come into effect on Mickey's side till the end. She got a couple times she threw Madison in the cage, and then she won with the Mickey DDT. Like I said, overall not on par with the one with Tara, but not as rough as I thought. It appeared Mickie James was okay from the kick. If Madison really did smash her in the face, I'm sure she had a nice bruise, but it didn't appear that, that she got knocked out or anything. I haven't seen any reports, but if you guys see anything about that, let me know. Leave a comment. I just like to know if Madison really did stiff her with that one. After that, we got a really good, quick preview of what was next with Austin Aries talking about he's so entertaining talking about him talking that we couldn't turn away. And I couldn't turn away. But that was because I was reviewing the show. But overall it was pretty good by Austin Aries. And now I am interested to see what he has to say. That's the next segment, and we're going to check it out right now. Okay, so the next part on Impact was before Austin Aries came out. They had a little backstage thing with Mickie James being congratulated by Velvet Sky and Tara. I always find it weird when they have Tara with Mickie James backstage because they usually hate each other, but now they're friends again. I know that's how it goes in the wrestling biz, faces with faces and heels with heels, but sometimes I really like when they keep things more reasonable. Keep the continuity going. After that, we got a recap of Aries' win at Genesis in the Fatal 4-Way. Then Austin Aries came out wondering who actually did declare that there was no more competition, and reaffirming that he is the greatest man in the to ever live. Which brought out the return of Alex Shelley. Good to see Alex Shelley. I enjoy his work on the mic. These two had a really good back and forth on the mic. If you don't watch anything else from Impact, and you're a big X Division fan, this is definitely a segment of the show to check out. It was a really good back and forth. Wasn't a cliched microphone. Wasn't a cliched promo. They threw out some pretty funny barbs at each other, so definitely check that out. Ended up setting up Alex Shelley versus somebody, another X Division star. They didn't name who it was. Aries said basically that he wouldn't give Shelley a shot until he defeated someone in the X Division. So that match is up for later tonight. But really enjoyed both men's work. Seek this promo out if you get the chance. They moved on from there to asking ODB backstage what she hopes Eric Young does to Angelina. She wants Eric Young to rip Angelina in half and take out all her weave. Most likely not going to happen there, but she got attacked by Winter and got beaten and left laying backstage. Probably this is this was a good segment of the show, and it was a good, decent segment without any commercial breaks all through. I really enjoyed this part of the show, and looking forward to see what's next. Okay, on the next part of Impact, we had the actual match itself between Eric Young and Angelina Love. Not really much of a match. It was more shenanigans from Eric Young. It was silly for what it was. Ended up with Angelina just giving EY kick in the nuts. Like I expected, nothing was really going to go on between Eric and Angelina. Led to Winter coming out too, and Winter and Angelina putting a beat down on Eric Young, which of course brought out our ODB to make the save. Not too unlike the Crimson and Magnus segment from earlier. But ODB and Eric shared another kiss, so somewhat of a retread from last week. Nothing really, no real new developments here in this one. But we did get a very good little backstage promo from James Storm, saying that he's done talking about what he's going to do. He's just going to go out and do it. And he's ready to take on Jeff Hardy. Real good work here. And I enjoyed James Storm's work since he's been out on his own. And I'm hoping to see a really good match here between Hardy and Storm. Hopefully not too heavy on shenanigans. I'd like to see a clean match here. And I'll be back with a review on that match. Okay, just watched the entire match of Jeff Hardy versus James Storm. There was a commercial break in the middle, but since there was really nothing else around it, I figured it'd be best just to review the whole match. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good match. Started off kind of slow, but I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. After the commercial break, continued on a bit. I don't personally think this is as good as the matches against their respective feuds have been. Hardy versus Rude and Storm versus Angle, but it was still a pretty solid, good match. They got to a point where James Storm hit a superplex, and it appeared that was going to be it, but unfortunately more shenanigans. Bully Ray interfered and just started wiping out everybody pretty much. Any additional referees that came to ringside. Jeff Hardy and James Storm, he was beating everybody down with the steel chain. I would assume because he didn't get his shot at the title, or obviously. And after that, Sting came down with the bat going old school and started beating the shit out of Bully Ray, which was good because he deserves it at this point. They chased each other out of the arena, and that brought Bobby Roode into the ring to nail Storm and Hardy with the title belt. And I mean, pretty much right there, that's your sign of the triple threat, Hardy, Roode, and Storm. Should definitely be a good one for Against All Odds. Hopefully, Bobby Roode can win that without get a clean victory to help solidify his reign. I mean, I don't know that there's really a way you can too cheaply win a triple threat. I mean, there's usually an anything goes type affair. But I'm really looking forward to that match against All Odds. That should really be a 4 or 5 star match if everything goes according to plan. Overall, I thought it was a pretty solid episode of Impact. I mean, aside from as entertaining as Eric Young and Angelina was, it was pure silliness, and it didn't really advance anything in the storyline at all. Overall, really, really solid show. And a good job. I say hats off to TNA. Good episode this week. It was a good episode of Raw this week. And I'm going to do the SmackDown recap the same way I just did the Impact one. This week I added a bunch of new shirts and a couple new championship belts to Phil's Wrestling Shirts on Facebook. Let's take a look at those on sale this week. Time for this week's figure review. This week, Elite 12 Daniel Bryan.
This week on Figure Review, we're taking a look at Elite 12 Daniel Bryan. This is Bryan's first Elite in the series, and I thought it came out pretty good. A lot of people not too happy with the smile and scan, but I think it really is a good resemblance to Bryan. We get this nice United States title here. Another good job by Mattel. They scaled it down a bit. It was a little big before, and even though it's not got the shiny gold on it, I think it looks great. And Bryan has all the same details on the attire as the Champions 4-pack. Thought it really, it's a good look, the gray and red. And we'll be getting an updated one soon. But overall, this is a great figure. If you haven't picked it up, definitely look for it. I've seen a lot of Elite 12 at Target and Kmart, so keep an eye out for this one. It's a good one.
What's up, guys? PWSPhil here on the road. Just came out of Toys R Us on Daniel Webster Highway in New Hampshire. Wasn't too bad of a selection. They had more than enough of Survivor Series heritage, including The Rock. I didn't pick any up. Not really looking for that right now. They didn't have the new WrestleMania 27 figures. Although at $20.99, I don't know which ones I'm really going to be getting. I think I'm just going to wait on Daniel Bryan and Bret the Hitman Hart. I may get Triple H eventually. Headed to Target now. Be back with another report.
PWSPhil here, back after stopping to Target at the Pheasant Lane Mall in New Hampshire. They're kind of wiped out, but they had Elite 12, like I mentioned last week, so if you're looking for that, keep an eye out. And I don't know if it was just at my Target, but they had the Flex Force 2-packs reduced to $10.97, so if anybody's been looking for those packs, Kane and Orton or Taker and Cena, at least at my Target, they were reduced to $10.97, so check out your store and see what's up. That's the report for this week.
Just like to send a big thank you out to the band Manifest. They provided all the music for PWSPhil's wrestling show, and I really appreciate it. Please check them out on their Facebook page, and please buy their album on Bandcamp.com. It's only $7. It's a great album, and thank you guys, Manifest. For anybody looking for my action figure YouTube videos, I started a separate channel called PWS Action Figures. Please check them out in the link below. I really appreciate it. It was just easier to keep all the copyrighted music and stuff for the Tron videos on a separate account, so I could keep this one free for Phil's wrestling show. Thanks a lot, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to PWS Action Figures. Hey guys, just watched the first part of SmackDown. I actually just paused it for a minute because Daniel Bryan's promo was so good. I had to just talk about it right now. I really enjoyed his heel promo work. I think that this SmackDown promo officially made it heelness. He accused Big Show of purposely running through AJ, or juggernauting her, as I like to say. Trademark Phil Kelly. And he really went off on a tangent here, just running Big Show down, saying he's a freak and that Big Show should quit over what happened. Just really good work from Daniel Bryan. I'm really enjoying his turn to a bad guy now. Still an awkward dynamic with Cole. Cole's still against him, but did agree with a few points. So I don't know how they're going to fully explain it if Cole goes on his side fully, but so far so good. I really enjoyed Bryan's SmackDown Open here. A couple weeks in a row, so it's good that he's getting a healthy amount of spotlight as the world champion. And I don't know how long he's going to keep the belt, but I like it thus far. I'll be back with more. Okay, right after Bryan's promo, we went backstage and seen a few superstars playing some gambling games around a little table. Exana and Teddy Long had a little bit there, and she wants to have a pillow fight with Teddy later. Not too bad. Cody Rhodes ended up spinning the roulette wheel for SmackDown, or on SmackDown I should say, and ended up getting a Player's Choice match. And one of the superstars playing was Hornswoggle, so he ended up choosing to face Hornswoggle. Cody Rhodes won a Player's Choice, which means he got to pick his opponent. Never too optimistic about Hornswoggle in a match against good wrestlers. We'll have to see what comes of it, but I'm really not expecting too much. Overall, it was a harmless segment. It was nothing too bad. It was quick, and so far so good on SmackDown. Okay, guys. On the next part of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes came out for his match against Hornswoggle, and I was dreading what was going to come. Hornswoggle came out, and Cody roughed him up a bit, but Justin Gabriel came out and got Cody to stop beating on Hornswoggle and goaded Cody into a match. Gabriel and Cody had a pretty good wrestling match. They really let Gabriel really got in a good amount of offense, and it really set him up as a contender. I hope maybe we get a small feud between the two over the next few weeks. I don't expect anything major storyline to come of it, but wrestling-wise, it was a great start to the show. I really liked when Gabriel tried to hop over Cody in the corner, but Cody caught him in position for the Alabama Slam. I like that little spot right there. That was good. Cody did end up picking up the win with the Crossroads, and both guys end up looking great. So we're overall a good start to SmackDown thus far. After that, we went backstage, and it was time for Mark Henry, who was disgusted with the whole idea of Sin City SmackDown. So instead of spinning the wheel himself, he told Teddy to just do it. Ended up being a lumberjack match. Now, not a fan of the lumberjack match particularly, so this is setting up tons and tons of shenanigans for the world title match later. I got not good feelings about that. But the match itself between Daniel Bryan and Mark Henry could be pretty good, providing there's not too much lumberjack shenanigans, at least, before the end. I hope they at least have a good match before shenanigans go down. After that, they went to break, so more in moments. Alright guys, the next part of SmackDown was Primo and Epico taking on the Usos in what turns out to be a tornado match. WWE.com had Epico and Primo's manager there spin the wheel, and it ended up being tornado match, which is always good to see. We don't get too many tornado matches in this modern age, so it was good to see, and I was eager to find out who they were facing. It turned out to be the Usos, and this might be the Usos' time where Evan Bourne has been suspended again for a wellness violation, 2 months, and chances are even when he does come back, they're probably not going to do Air Boom. I mean, possibly, but you never know. But I think now would be the time to push the Usos at the top, good guy face team in the division. And Primo and Epico, of course, picked up the win to keep their momentum going from their title victory last Sunday. And it wasn't too bad of a match. A lot of great double teaming. Probably one of the, tag team divisions was pretty good since Evan and Kofi won the straps last year. So I'm glad to see they had a backup plan. They weren't completely lost for things to do with the tag team division, since Air Boom is probably no more. Like I said, Primo and Epico picked up the win, and they're plugging Sheamus and Wade Barrett for tonight. I'm interested to find out what stipulation they're gonna get from the wheel. I think they're gonna work really well together. I've been hoping for this feud for quite some time, so I'm glad to see a match here tonight, and can't wait to see what goes down in that one. And like I said, still not too pleased with the lumberjack stipulation on the other match, Daniel Bryan and Big Show, but we'll see how that goes. More to come. Back from break on SmackDown, and it was Sheamus' turn to spin the wheel to see what his match would be. Before that, Oksana and Teddy Long were having a chit-chat, and they did a joke about pulling the handle on the slot machine. Pretty much a bunch of hand job jokes. Followed by that, Oksana ended up spinning the wheel, and it turns out Sheamus and Wade Barrett will compete in a tables match. Certainly looking forward to that by the end of the show. After that, we cut to the ring, and Lillian Garcia announced that the following was a dance-off, and oh boy, was I not too happy to hear those words. But turns out one of the participants in this dance-off is Brodus Clay, so this could turn out good. It was just a quick filler segment. There was no in-ring action or anything. They went right back to commercial break. So I can't say I'm eager to see who Brodus Clay's dance-off opponent is, but I am eager to see if Brodus Clay is going to T-bone suplex his ass and run him over with a crossbody. More to come. Okay guys, just got done watching the dance-off. Turns out Vicky Guerrero was Brodus Clay's opponent, and I must say, although her dancing was terrible, Vicky was looking hot in the short shorts. I was digging that. Vicky pretty much did the Seinfeld dance and got booed out of the building.
but she was quite upset that Brodus Clay had defeated her in the dance-off, which prompted William Regal to come out and console her, and he ended up doing a little dance, which wasn't too bad, and then Brodus Clay absolutely crushed him with the crossbody block. Overall, this segment might have went a little long, but as far as dance-offs in history, this was probably the most entertaining dance-off in WWE history. And the next part of SmackDown coming up is the tables match with Wade Barrett and Sheamus. So that'll even out any silliness that segment brought on. But overall, I really can't hate on it. It was a pretty fun. Segment of the show. I'll be back with Sheamus and Wade Barrett review. Should be a good one in a tables match. All right, guys. And just got done watching Wade Barrett versus Sheamus in the tables match, and what a match it was. I'm going to have to give this match of the week. Real physical match between the two. I figured it would be. Probably the only part I really didn't fully care for is Jinder Mahal's interference at the end, but, I mean, they've been trying to get Jinder Mahal up there, and I can see why they did that. It gives them a little boost. I don't think they should have had Sheamus get revenge on Jinder Mahal just this week, but overall, I really, really enjoyed this match. Overall, even if I didn't agree with everything that went on in the aftermath, it still added to the whole segment with the match and the afterwards. Really good, hard-hitting match between Sheamus and Wade Barrett. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest you go out of your way to find it. It was a good one. It was a good back-and-forth contest. Glad Jinder at least showed up on SmackDown this week. Helps boost him up a little bit. Sheamus ended up using the running spine buster through the table, a rhino-like maneuver there, putting Jinder through the table. And don't know what's next on SmackDown. Still got the Lumberjack match to come up. Still don't know what to think about that. And we'll see what's next on SmackDown. Up next on SmackDown was Ted DiBiase versus Hunico, and Teddy Long spun the roulette wheel in the back, and they ended up having a flag match. According to Josh Matthews, this is the first flag match in SmackDown history, and it may very well be. I don't recall any other ones. Of course, I don't have a Rolodex of SmackDown episodes at my fingertips, but I can't recall another one. It wasn't too bad of a match. I really like DiBiase. He's picked up like this inverted powerbomb variation where the other superstar comes off the ropes and it looks like they're going to do a head scissor, but DiBiase catches him and plants him with a sit-down variation of the powerbomb, but the superstar lands face down too. So it's definitely a cool variation. Ted DiBiase ended up picking up the victory, which is good. I like Ted DiBiase. I liked his work in Legacy. I really think they dropped the ball by not turning Ted face at that point. I think that was a good time. He could have really took off as a face, but at the time Randy Orton had picked up so much steam as a face himself that they decided to go with the more sure bet in Randy Orton. But so far, this late last year into this year, Ted's been doing well. They've been giving him a push. The DiBiase posse parties have really helped him out. I'm sure that's earned him a lot of credit with the higher ups in WWE that he'll make his own push. He'll get the people behind him in his own way, and whatever works. Like I said, I appreciate his talents. I like what he does. And I like Hunico too. I wish we could see Camacho in an actual match. I'm interested to see what he can do. But so far he's done well in his small roles. I do like the name of Camacho. It's a silly little fun name. And maybe Hunico and Camacho can step into the tag team division once a few more face tag teams have been put together. But cool little segment on SmackDown. Like I said, helping rebuild Ted DiBiase. They didn't push anything going into the break, so I don't know what's next. But I have more reviews in a minute. Drew McIntyre was backstage with Teddy Long, and Teddy finally pulled the trigger and fired Drew McIntyre. I don't know where this is really going to lead, but before everything was said and done, Santino came in and said that Drew should get another opportunity versus Santino right here tonight, since a lot of people considered Santino's victory a fluke. So
Santino convinced Teddy to give Drew another shot, and they spun the wheel, and ended up being a blindfold match. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be on the same level as Rick Martel and Jake the Snake back in the day, but I'm willing to give it a shot, and I'm hoping Drew pulls it out, because I really like Drew McIntyre. I like his work on the mic and in the ring, and I hope he gets a run somewhere on SmackDown this year. Obviously, this is a semi-push, a push about getting fired. Not the greatest storyline to have. Didn't really work. Well, they haven't really had a fired storyline like this before, but I remember back MVP's losing streak didn't exactly do any wonders for him towards his end of his WWE run, so we'll see where this goes. I still stick with what I said last week, that adding Drew McIntyre to Vicky Guerrero's stable I think would be an excellent move if he ever does start picking up wins. Because eventually Dolph is going to outgrow that stable and be his own man, because he's perfectly capable on the mic. Not that I don't enjoy Dolph and Vicky as a team, but I think Drew would be an excellent addition to that stable. So I'll be back with a review of that match. Hope it's a good one at least. Could possibly be shenanigans and silliness. We'll see what happens. Well, just got done watching the blindfold match. Unfortunately for poor Drew McIntyre, he lost. He lost the match. It was some silliness, but it didn't drag on too long. It was very entertaining for a short little skit like that. Don't know where this leads for Drew now. I mean, he was already fired before he got the match, so I mean, I don't know how he's going to drag another chance out of Teddy Long, and he just got traded from Raw, so we'll have to see what goes down there. They started bringing out the Lumberjacks after that, and then they cut to break. So the World Heavyweight title match is next, and I'll be right back with a review. Okay, guys, just got done watching the World Heavyweight Championship match between Daniel Bryan and Mark Henry, and beginning of the match was kind of slow. It was basically establishing every time Daniel Bryan got knocked out of the ring, he did not want the Lumberjacks to be touching him. Just more douchey moves since he's won the title. From there was a commercial break, and when we got back, it was a bit more of a match. Daniel Bryan got some offense in, but it was really more of just Daniel Bryan pissing off the Lumberjacks. Eventually, Mark Henry would gain control back in the match, and it was an okay match. It was this is more again more of an angle than it was a match. Eventually, once Mark Henry got knocked out of the ring, the Lumberjacks were all in a frenzy, and they all jumped on Mark Henry, and Daniel Bryan was trying to kick some of the Lumberjacks off Mark Henry. I mean, it was really turned into a clusterfuck. But by every minute, it was a bigger clusterfuck than it was the minute before. Eventually, what ended up happening is all the Lumberjacks got in the ring and started beating up Mark Henry, Daniel Bryan, and then each other in a Rumble preview. Daniel Bryan snuck out the back door with his World Heavyweight Championship belt, but he didn't make it too far because he bumped into Teddy Long. And that's when we got the confirmation of the triple threat, Mark Henry, Big Show, and Daniel Bryan. But not only that for the Royal Rumble, but it'll take place inside a steel cage. Now that should be an interesting contest because Daniel Bryan and Mark Henry just got done having a great cage match this past fall. And should be really interesting once you add Big Show into that mix too. I can see some pretty interesting and fun spots coming out of this one, where possibly Big Show and Mark Henry will be tossing Daniel Bryan back and forth between each other, is what I imagine at the moment. But that's a pretty interesting match for the Royal Rumble. That on top of CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler, which should be excellent on pay-per-view. And yeah, got a stacked pay-per-view thus far. So far we got the Rumble, Punk and Ziggler for the WWE Championship, and now a Big Show, Daniel Bryan, and Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight Championship inside of a 15-foot high steel cage. Very excellent episode of SmackDown this week. If you can find the time to watch the whole show, I'd say watch it. It was very, very entertaining. Very solid week in wrestling overall. Raw was great. Impact was great, and SmackDown was great. So if you're a wrestling fan, you had a lot to dig this week. I give all three shows a lot of credit. I like when we have good weeks like this where all the shows really hit hard. And big ups to everyone across the board. I still have to give match of the week though to Sheamus and Wade Barrett. Table match was excellent, and yeah, just a really solid episode of SmackDown. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. This was episode 2 this week. Remember to leave some comments. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to PWS Action Figures for all my action figure videos. Don't forget about Twitter and Facebook. Check out my eBay. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it.